Sarah's birthday, so I got her a nice card, among other things. But the main reason is we're going to talk about making pumpkin pie with a sugar pumpkin. Now, you can't make pumpkin pie with jack-o'-lanterns because they're just not that sweet, and that's not what their purpose is for. These are made specially just for pumpkin pie. Or you can use this stupid can mix, the Libby's pumpkin pie mix. Or you could even use the pumpkin pie spice, but we're going to do it all from scratch. So the easiest way that I find, first of all, you need a sharp knife for this. I just actually sharpened this on a stone and then I took it to the steel. It has to be really sharp. So we're going to cut the top off. And then, if you lay it on that flat, you'll have a sturdy place to work with. So the next step, I'm going to do these other two. I'm going to scoop these seeds out, and I'm going to save them. Alright, I've got the seeds out. And just a side note about that, when you're cleaning out the seeds, before you do anything, if you take your knife and you slice on this edge and this edge, it'll come out a lot easier because there's a lot of little strings that get caught on these two corners right here. So that's it. I mean, you don't have to get it perfectly clean because if you keep scraping, it's going to keep doing the same thing. And after all, this is going to get pureed in a food processor, so it's not like that's poison. So now, you can take a sheet pan like this, put some foil in there, it helps with the cleanup. Or, I got a little too much pumpkin, so I'm going to take my pizza pan, I think they'll all fit on here. So you want to put them all face down. Now, a lot of people put water in the bottom so that it steams. You don't want to do that because if you do it this way, the pumpkins will roast and you'll get a brown color inside, and that equals flavor. So you don't want to steam these. You know me, I'm all about flavor and getting things to develop to cook. So now this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for about 45 minutes, but you need to check it. Oh, I would start checking it at about 40 minutes or so. Stick a fork in here and see if it's soft. So we're going to roast these off now. 350 oven, remember that. Put them in the upper third of the oven so that you're closer to the top of the heat rather than down lower. So that's it. I'll be back when they're done. Alright, so while the pumpkins are roasting, I figured I'd take a minute and talk about the seeds. Now I got here, this is all the pulp and everything. I put some water in there because the seeds can float up and it's easy to get your fingers through there. Or you can use, they got this new thing, it's called a slotted, it's a pumpkin seed spoon. You just put it in there and the seeds fall out the bottom. No, I'm just kidding. No. I wish. So, we'll pick them out, put them in here. Now, in this one, I have some more water with a colander because the crap's going to fall to the bottom. And then you can use this spoon to skim off the top. It will work sooner or later. So, I'm just going to pick out all these seeds. It's pretty laborious, but I don't know if you've ever had roasted pumpkin seeds or not, but I'm going to show you how to do this so that the seeds have a tremendous taste. And the key to it is boiling them in salt before you roast them in the oven. This way the salt is on the inside and not just on the outside. And once you get that proportion down, your seeds will come out the same way salt-wise every time. What I do is I have a 1/4 tablespoons of kosher salt in there, and then the salt level is perfect when they come out. And this way, you can put garlic on when you want to roast them or whatever else you want to do. When they're in the oven, you don't have to be concerned about them being salty enough or whatever. It's just a matter of trial and error. Once you get it right, it's pretty consistent. So that's it. I'm going to continue doing this and be back in a little bit. One other thing about this, after you get a bunch of seeds in here, then you can go ahead and skim this off and place them on a kitchen towel, because you don't want to get too much pulp under there, you won't be able to separate it. Do not put these on a paper towel because they'll be stuck there for life. You want a kitchen towel so that you can just take them off with your fingers later on. So that's it. Let me see if this pumpkin spoon works. Oh, it's not bad. It works a little bit. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah. The orange falls down to the bottom of the liquid and then you can just skim it off. I think I stumbled on something here. Sometimes I scare myself, especially on Halloween. Okay. Alright, so I took the colander out so there's a little more depth of water in there. But I gotta show you some other way that I do this too. You're like, oh yeah, great, you're gonna show me how to do pumpkins. I'm an idiot, I don't know how to do this. But if you keep this all wet, you don't have to deal with that glue. It gets gluey when it's dry, then they just pinch right off. Just pinch right out of there, it's nothing. You don't have to pick at it. Plus I'm sitting here kind of bored all by myself until the party later, so I figured I'd put the camera on a little more. I don't know if you guys saw the video where I did the chickens, but I'm going to do a turkey for Thanksgiving. I already put down, I picked one out. It's going to be, probably about 32 pounds live weight. And I'm going to show you how to humanely kill a turkey on camera. And then we're going to pluck it and we're going to brine it, which you all should have watched my recipe for brining a turkey. That is something you need to try. I'd even put that before deep frying, even though I've never deep fried a turkey. And if you're going to do that, make sure you do it outside anyway. But a friend of mine wants to deep fry a turkey, so I'm going to put that on film too. We'll see what happens. Yep, so this is coming along now. I'm trying to decide whether or not I want to tag along with the kids when they go trick-or-treating. I mean, they are. Sarah's going to be 20 today. Or she's 20 today, and my son is going to be 17, or 18, excuse me, 18, on the 23rd of November, which is usually Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving and Halloween thanks stock, you know. But at least they're not a Christmas birthday. I got a twin brother, and I even got to remember somebody on my birthday, so. But anyway, hope you guys are enjoying my videos. I'm getting a little better at the editing as I go along. If you watch my first video with the pico de gallo and the fluffy pancakes, oh my gosh. But hey, I thought it was funny. Show how I evolve on YouTube. Emerald called in the other day. He actually called when I was on camera. Wanted me to ban the food. Oh, ban the salt. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to continue doing this and I'll be back. Alright, so that's it. I spread them out on a kitchen towel. And now they can dry. And at this point, if you need to go out to the store, which is what we need to do, you can let this sit overnight if you want. If they dry, it's not going to be an issue. You're going to wet them again anyway. So, yeah, it this will free you up to do stuff. So that's it. I'll be back when I get ready to cook them. Go get some candy. Oh yeah. I actually transferred them to another towel because that towel was kind of wet. So I'm gonna let this dry, but I got a joke for you. What does a stuttering ghost say? Babu. Alright, see you later. Alright, so these have been cooking for an hour and 15 minutes, and I started checking them at 45 minutes, and they take a little longer to cook than butternut squash, so that's how much time I got. So now I'm going to take this, all this liquid that came out of here, and I'm going to try to get it in a bowl before I pick these up. So that's flavor right there. I got me a fish spatula, which is a really great thing to have, and I'm now look at that. See how dark that is? That's what you want, and you don't get that with water. So it's a good idea to always have kitchen tools. So that'll work also. This way you don't lose any of it. Get all that lusciousness and it goes right into the food processor. Yeah, see, it's starting to come better now because it's cooling down a little bit. That's what you want right there. Oh yeah, babe. Now that is cool. See that? Now that's ready for the food processor. So I'm going to do the rest of them and then I'll be back. So I got all this, all the skins off, and I put a little bit in here where the liquid was from that, when we poured it off the cooking juices. So I'm going to go ahead and put this now in the food processor. And by the way, if you rinse out your food processor, it won't stick in there like glue afterwards. I'm going to shovel this in. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick this in here and just mash it up a little bit so it's easy to get into the processor. Looks like I'll do this first batch and then I'll do the next batch after this. Just let it run until it purees. Awesome. This is like baby food now. So I'm going to do the other batch. And I'll see you in a minute. I got the next batch here, or the last batch, so I'm going to mix it all together. We can't have one of them tasting different than the other one. Don't be tempted to add water to this when you're trying to puree it. It'll come together. You just may have to mix it a few times and re-puree it. You know, keep it moving until it does this. But there's plenty of liquid in this stuff. And a lot of people, what they do at this point is they try to squeeze the liquid out of this, but why do that? It's all flavor, you know. You have to just realize that when you're making a pie and stuff, so that it doesn't come out soggy. But realistically, you'll know when you're mixing the pie dough together, or the mixture for the pumpkin pie, or whatever you're making. You'll see if it's too loose or whatever. You just adjust it accordingly. I mean, you have to kind of wing it until you figure out how to cook with this stuff, because it is different than the can. The can is more of a, you know, like a thick paste, like tomato paste, you know. So what I'm going to show you now is a great thing to do on how to portion this stuff off, because this will keep for a week in the refrigerator, but you can freeze it for up to 6 months. So if you're going to make a pumpkin pie, the general proportion is 1.25 cups of this stuff in the recipe that I have, that I developed. So these things are great. You can pick these up anywhere. So what I usually do is, we need 1.25 cups. So I'll go to like 1.5 cups. Well, first I'm going to mix it up. And if you're a mother and you're feeding a baby, this is great food. Great baby food. Okay, so I'll fill this up and keep it tilted so that the air comes out of the thing. So there's 1.25 cups. And now that's ready to plop into a bag and freeze it. So I'm going to get set up with that, and I'll show you that in a minute. So now, this is a food saver, a vacuum sealer. And what I do is I keep my pens inside so I can write on stuff, but these are the bags. This is an 11-inch roll. I like to buy it in bulk like this, because you can make your own size bag with it. So that's an 11-inch roll. And then here are some 8 inches. And that's what we're going to use right now. You can find them at Walmart. Okay. So what I do is, first thing I'll do is, I'll put the date on it. 10/31/12, pumpkin. Okay, and then I'll seal one end. You flip this down and just push the seal button. And once the light goes out, I'll see, I'm trying to estimate, this is going to go in here, so you got to have about 3 inches past. So there's 1/2 right there, and there's 1, so I'm going to do 1 1/2. I like to keep it in here so that it holds it for me, but I'm going to go 1 1/2. And now, this has to be dry when you're sealing it, but the nice thing about having this plunger is you stick the bag over it. Done. Now that's 1.25 cups. Now you can't seal this while it's cold like this, because it's just going to suck up in the machine. So you take it like this, and I'm going to put it in, actually, this is the way you could do it if you had like something, if you had to freeze it in a hurry, you can do it this way. But what I like to do is I like to pre-freeze it in some containers. and then put it in the bag like this, because this way it sits flat in the freezer, but you can do it any way you want. See, if I was going to do it in my patented green containers that you've seen, by the way, these are available on HSN. I'm not selling them, I'm just saying. We could do the same thing. Plop it in here and then flatten it out. Now that's a cup and a third. Now the third way you can do it by this. You notice there's a cup and a third. You put this on here, let it zero. Now it's zero. Now it's a cup and a third. So that's it. So you got different ways to do this. Now if I would, now I could stick this in the freezer for a day and then take it out. It'll be semi-frozen. What I do is it'll have a little frost on top. So you just put it under hot water. It'll melt the frost. Turn it over, hit the bottom with hot water, and then it'll pop right out. And then you can take a bag like this and maybe even nest a couple of them in there, or you can nest one, or you just put one in there and seal it that way. So that's what I'm going to do now, is I'm going to portion this off and put it in the freezer, because I'm not going to eat this in a week, you know. And now I can make pumpkin stuff all the way up until Christmas. So there you have it. I finished portioning all these out, and I just wanted to show you that we had 3 pumpkins and we got 6 containers. So each half will give you a cup and a third of puree, so you can make 2 pumpkin pies out of 1 pumpkin if you get lucky and you get the right, you know, the decent sizes like I had. Now, I gotta taste this, because I do on all my videos. That is perfect. I mean, it's not really sweet like butternut squash, but it's absolutely delicious. Oh yeah, baby. All right, until next time. All right, now it's time to show you how to cook the pumpkin seeds. So what we got here is a decent sized saucepan, so it has room for everything to breathe in there. So we're going to add a quart of water and 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. We're going to add in our pumpkin seeds. Like this. Is that kind of Halloweenish? I didn't even know we had it. Thought it might have been apropos. Alright, so looks like about the right proportions here. It doesn't really matter, because the salt water is going to have the same concentration of salt no matter how much seeds you put in here. So now I'm going to bring them up to the boil and let them cook for 20 minutes, and then I'll show you what they look like. Okay, while the seeds are boiling, I like to put butter on my seeds. But the problem is, when you put them in the oven to roast them, if you take butter in its form the way it is, it's got fat in it, and this will start to burn at between 200 and 300 degrees, 250, 300. But if you clarify it, you're good all the way up to 450, and some people even say 485. So I'm going to show you how to clarify butter. All you do is you put it in a saucepan and melt it, and then I'll pour it in here and I'll show you what I mean. So you put the butter in the saucepan and let it simmer. It probably took about 20 minutes to do this, but as it's simmering, the water will boil off, and then on top you'll get this foam. That's the milk fats. You separate that from this, and then this is the actual clarified butter. Okay? This is great on popcorn, by the way. Don't throw this away if you want to make popcorn. But now we're going to take the clarified butter and we're going to put it on our sheet pan. And by the way, this is great for sauces. See, this won't break down, and if you use this in the hollandaise, the sauce, as it cools off, it won't break down. It'll still stay combined. So this is great stuff to use in a lot of things. You can even use it in an omelet. The butter won't brown. I mean, it's really the way to go. Okay, so I'm just going to take this butter and smooth it around our sheet pan here so that it doesn't, the seeds don't stick. And I got enough in there. I'm going to toss our seeds now. These have come out of the water. Salt water, and dried a little bit. Almost too much for this pan, because I want to try to get these now in a single layer. And then now they're going to go into a 350 oven, and they're going to go for 15 minutes or until golden brown. So now you got to keep an eye on it at this point, because this is a lot of work. So here we go. And again, I have them on the upper part of the oven, not down by the element, so the upper third. And I'll show you what they look like in about 15 minutes. Alright, so just to clarify, the clarified butter, oh, get it? The clarified butter, okay. Butter is made up of butter fat, milk fat, and water. So this is the translucent butter fat that's left over after you boil out the water and you remove the milk solids. So that's that. Now our seeds are ready to come out of the oven, and I'm just going to explain to you again. If you don't dry them overnight, then you can go right into step 2 on the baking process, because I told you to put them in at 350 for 15 minutes. That dries them out. Then you go to 375 for an additional 15 minutes. And that'll actually roast them. You'll actually see them on the pan. They'll start to open up and pop a little bit. That's what you want. So again, if you don't dry them, you can do the 350 for 15 minutes, and that's ready now. Okay, now this next step is critical. First I'm going to put a little Johnny's garlic salt on there, because this is the best time. When they're still a little moist, that'll stick to them. Now, do not pour this into a bowl and let them cool off in a bowl, because they're going to get soggy. Let this sit and let this cool. Oh yeah, babe. That is delicious. Wow. But let this sit and let this cool as is. Man. This is also a point where you could add straight garlic on it, but the ratio of salt to water that I told you puts a bit of salt on the inside, but just needs that little touch of salt on the outside to bring it all together. And try this, you'll love it. And it'll be the best you'll ever taste. See you next time.